Here we go. Welcome back, Managing Paradise. Ready for that recap?
Oh, we're ready, Sean.
Hell yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
Exactly. All right, folks. Last we met on the 16th evening of Arwood Gloam, the Bitter Shadow, on a Stursdock. The Wayward Five had just held the defenses at the gates of Kolpolt Rodstva. Curon, Scarlet, Talray, and their Dwergar allies witnessed the infamous god known as the Wayward One, or Hadric, save their lives from the Harbinger, a corrupted manifestation of the outer realm called Carcery. Overwhelmed and severely injured, their ally Stronic led them to the Menders Guild, the medical facility within the Dwergar city. Here they began recovering, were reunited with Timber and Sarathil. They had the day to rest and collect themselves before meeting with the Gloam Lord Garlemane, leader of Kolpolt Rodstva. Those with a bit more strength wandered the cavernous halls of the city. But despite this vastness, or the vastness of this space, it was dwarfed by the sheer amount of refugees created by the Mind Flayer crisis. Nonetheless, they stumbled upon a great forge temple to the conservator god Fearsoul. Talray had struck a conversation with the forge cleric there, Precious, an analytical but kind Freedy. Shortly, Scarlet joined the conversation. They learned that Capricious had met her father long ago when leaving his homeland. She shared her father's death. She shared the news of her father's death 10 years ago, and the cleric offered deep sympathy and an opportunity to honor him within the forge. Together, they created a small bronze ornament to be hammered into the forge walls to join those others who have been commemorated here and honored by their living kin. Capricious then offered a short prayer and a place of peace for Scarlet to return to when needed. Overhearing this, Timber checked in on Scarlet, and she shared the story of her father's death and its connection to her brother's kidnapping. They returned to the Menders Guild to rest and recover from the fight. Here, later that night, against the advice of Curon earlier, Sarathil removed the Mind Blink enchantment from Scarlet, which had been restricting divination magic from reaching her mind, including the probing controls of the Cirrus of the Crimson Court. She used this time to reach out to Thatcher to demand an audience. He acquiesced to this request and cast a dream on her. She attempted to make her brother remember the past, who he was and the family that they shared. But this did little but enrage him. He shifted from a more open conversation to antagonizing Scarlet, calling their father weak for failing to protect them, and saying that the person that she's looking for, Reese, is no longer there. He showed her scenes of her own crimes, declaring this is who you are now, Scarlet, not Rowan. The dream ended with the twins fractured further apart. Before she could awake, the Cirrus seized the moment of weakness to reassert her control over Scarlet. And she was close to taking full control. Sarathil recast the mind blank on her, purging the Cirrus from her mind. Huron gently scolded them for risking so much with their impatience. The following morning, the party met with Gloamlord Garlemane. The Dwergar leader prepared a feast to honor Wizwick, and he offered a reward to the party for protecting his city. He also tried to get the party to stay and help defeat the Elder Brain. With Alicia and the need to return Wizwick to rest in Smoothold ahead, the party decided they could not stay, despite how much Huron struggled to let go. But they did offer what aid they could before leaving. Thus, Huron summoned a planar ally from Fearsol to help coordinate the attack, and offered to stay one more day to recast Forbiddance, preventing the Elder Brain from fleeing via teleportation. Garlemane accepted this offer, and in turn gifted the party the services of Stronach to guide them to Smoothold safely. And with a game of fetch with Mundy, that is where our last session ended. We pick up with you having the afternoon to yourselves to explore Kolpolt Rodstva before you leave. The following morning, you head to Smoothold, to find Smoothold, really. So, Wayward Five, what would you like to do?
Can I go hang out in the forge?
Absolutely. Is there anything specific you want to do, or just hang out?
If there's space and materials and Capricious is okay with it, just do some, just maybe make myself some daggers that I could throw.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say you can, you work through the day, you can make two daggers, and Capricious will happily provide you with the materials and help you a little bit, maybe, here and there, if you wish to seek advice and help. But he also would be fine with leaving you alone if you need time to think.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer to work by myself.
Okay. It'll take you most of the day to do that. But anyone passing by the forge would definitely see Scarlet there working hard, covered in the smut and ash of the forge. Imagine, none of the armor and just sort of that, like, sweat and ash. And you could really see, if you look, like, how strong Scarlet actually is, and how, usually assassins are a lot more lithe than Scarlet, but she's got some muscle on her. You need to work these forges. Okay, so Scarlet will spend the day in the forge in her own form of meditation.
Mm.
The rest of you, what would you like to do?
I think Talray, looking for a way to spend the money he just acquired, is gonna start, roaming around looking for someplace where he might find something, particularly special for himself.
Yeah, are you anything in particular that you're looking for? Magical items, artifacts, or fancy equipment, armor? What are you looking for?
You know, probably something along the lines of armor, but I wouldn't be opposed to possibility like magical armor, obviously, or like something to keep him safe, because he's noticed that like he's been having a lot of problems with like these psychic creatures that have been attacking him. But he wouldn't be opposed to finding something that's just good for utility, like I don't know, maybe something that I'm about to send you.
If you've got something in mind, feel free to send it to me, and I'll let you know if it's something you could source here. While I'm looking that information up for that, other folks, what are you up to?
Huron has 2 sendings he'd like to cast.
Okay. Got some sendings to do. Let me just get an inventory of what everyone wants to do this day. So we've got some magic shopping.
I do some magic shopping. I don't know. I'm not looking for anything particular. Just gonna browse the wares.
We just have this
Tamriel.
evening. We just have this evening, right? Until next morning.
Yeah, tomorrow morning is when you'll leave.
Okay. I'll accompany Timber for it. I don't know exactly what he's looking for magic-wise, but I'd say if there's like any new spells or a spell store, just I would be an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through the.
We're going on a date.
Yes.
Going on a little magic shop date.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So I'm gonna settle these things one at a time. So I'm gonna do Talray first, and then I'm gonna do Sarathil and Timber, and then we'll do the sendings. All right. So Talray, if you're looking for magic items and armor, there's 2 places you can go to. For armor and weapons, you would want to actually go to Capricious, because he can source those things for you. He can forge them, or he might have them already forged, and then he can get them enchanted. For things that are not weapons and items, that are more like wondrous items, you would want to go to the Seer's Sanctum, an enchanter's shop within the Amaranthine corridor. Similarly for you, for Sarathil and Timber, you'd probably head there as well for general magic shop kind of exploration. Just so you're aware. So I guess which one would you like to explore first, Talray?
I guess I'd probably start off with the armor, so I'd go back to the forges.
Okay, easy enough to do. But you would definitely see Scarlet there working diligently at one of the open crafting stations of the forge. You've got those open forge areas that surround it in a horseshoe shape, and then you have the central forge, which is the Sacred's forge that Capricious works in. So you can walk through the workshop area and definitely meet up with Capricious in there, and you would see him. He seems to always be working on something. He's never seems to be resting. But he very easily turns to you and just says, friend, you've come back. Is there something in specific that you come to me for?
I'd say so. I came into a wealthy sum after meeting your Duke, King?
Gloamlord.
I'm thinking about perhaps trying to find something that is a little bit safer. I am wearing common clothes, and I like pull out of my pack my studded leather armor that he probably saw me wearing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at it, and it says, well, this set has done me good, but it's a little bit roughed up. If you could find something that is similarly something I can maneuver around in, that's kind of similar to this, I don't know if it's your forte, but I figured I'd give it a shot.
And you're showing him what you're currently wearing for armor?
Yes, which is studded leather.
Studded leather. So he would take a look at it and he would say, well, I think that I know, you're looking for more reinforced hides and leathers. We don't come by those very often down here. There's not a lot of good hide to harvest to create these leathers. But we do have some stores that we've gotten from the Ditch Town trades. Certainly nothing of enchanted value, perhaps. You're looking for truly reinforced equipment.
Well, that's all right. I mean, I'm sure I could find something else in town that suits my fancy.
I could work on this to convert it or upgrade it to half-plate armor. And then you can look to see if you'd like to get that enchanted. Might be pricey, but it's doable.
Now, the price really isn't my concern. It's more about the amount of time it would take. I plan on leaving here soon, unfortunately.
Well, then you might want to search for something a bit more readily accessible. I have heavier armors that have been enchanted, but I don't know if that's what your forte is if you're looking to maneuverable.
Yes,
You also get this studded leather enchanted.
Well, how much would an enchantment be?
Well, you'd have to go and talk to Shindle to figure that out. He runs the Seer's Sanctum shop over down that way, and he points across through the town towards the main drag where, and he points towards where there you can see that purple light in the distance.
Well, thanks, Capricious. I'll see you later.
Of course. And easily enough, he returns to work. I would say the three of you would probably crash into each other at that shop. So I'd say, Talray, while you're walking through, you would catch Timber and Sarathil heading towards that shop anyway. So the three of you head together.
Hey, you two.
Oh, Talray, what brings you this part of town?
Well, probably the same as you. I've been looking for some defensive magical items that might be able to, make me stay around a little longer in a fight.
Oh, turn into Timber. It's not what you were looking for. Is there anything of value there, Talray?
Well, Precious is the one to talk to if you want some armor or some weapons. But he told me to head this way, and I point the way that we're all walking.
Yeah, and you would all see like the drag kind of decreases in size and tapers to this very thin passageway where there's this ambient purple and pink light coming from, and you can see kind of veins of ore spreading out like spider webs from the entrance to this part of the structure. It looks like while the rest of the fortress is literally carved stone completely all the way up to the ceiling where it turns to natural rock, this entire corridor seems to have been a fracture in the rock that was just left bare rock, and they dug houses and shops into the rock itself, as opposed to smoothing it over and making it look pretty like the rest of the city. And then a large sign, which none of you can read because it's an undercommon. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah, it's an undercommon. I'm gonna say, going back and forth between dwarvish and undercommon for these folks, but I'd say it's undercommon. But you can definitely head in. It's definitely a little bit of a claustrophobic space. It's got a very tall ceiling, and you can see like on either. It's like going into those like alleyway shops in a really crowded medieval city, except it's all kind of stone and smoothed over stone that is, and mingled with the ambient purple and pink light is just sort of this steady flow of water all over the place. And there's just this trickling noise throughout the entire place. If you've got to go to the bathroom, you definitely will really have to go to the bathroom while in this place. As there's just a general like Zen fountain almost coming down constantly over the rocks, and it's all the rock is smooth because of it. But it like almost conveniently lands in these pools that have been built into the rock. It Sarathil and Talray, given your magical backgrounds, could definitely tell that some mold earth spells have been used here. Mold stone, shape stone to create these pools, these aesthetic pools. But once you get like 10, 20 feet in, you start to see shops on the sides, and you can see above in the rock are these built-in like windows and balconies that have just been straight carved into the stone itself, as opposed to a structure on the stone. But you definitely can easily approach kind of what looks like a corner shop, because the whole thing is kind of a T shape, a lowercase T shape, where you get to the center where there's a split into 3 alleys that have different shops in them. The ones that stand out the most are the Seer Sanctum, which you were kind of directed to, and then the Gorgon's Reach, which is clearly an alchemy shop based on the signage. But the Seer Sanctum is on the corner. And it has, whereas everything else kind of let the rock form naturally, and has kind of some hard edges to the buildings. This one is very smoothed over, almost like the rock looks like billowing smoke coming up, the way it's been shaped. It has a illuminated sign that is magically glowing like neon, and it is covered in like thousands of runes all over the entire structure, carved into the stone itself. And I'd say, Timber, because you've spent so long with Wizwick, these are clearly Zvirfneblin runes. They're similar to the ones all over Naldo, and similar to the ones you saw in Wizwick's goods. But you can easily enough enter the shop if you'd like.
Let's be careful here. I've seen those runes before.
Oh?
Yes, Wizwick uses them all the time, and I usually just associate that with something chaotic, so...
I see. So, as you enter into the shop, there's a little bell jingle that happens. You look up for this bell, and it does not exist. You look in the shop, and it is basically a tall, cylindrical shop that goes up several floors. These floors are gnome and dwarf sized. So for Timber and Sarathil, the ceilings are quite short for you. You have to definitely bend down a little bit as you're going through them. The entire room is completely lit from these glowing, floating gems that are kind of like one at each floor. There are 3 floors. The first floor is the general magic shop that has a bunch of display cases with different little trinkets in them. It's almost akin to a museum on this first floor. Second floor, you can look up because it's kind of a mezzanine structure. You can see up the center of the cylinder, all books, a massive library. And then the third floor has a bunch of, not curtains, but like bead curtains that completely hide that area, completely made up of like all different types of gemstones. And I don't mean they like carved beads. I mean, there's just whole hunks of like ruby and emerald that make up these beaded curtains.
Okay.
The whole space has this bright purple neon coloration to it. And you can see kind of just wandering amongst the display cases is this very tall and thin kind of automaton Warforged fellow, who is very similar to the ones that were defending the front gate, except not battle mode at all, more like a butler, one might say, in his appearance. Very thin and lanky and tall, probably about 7 feet tall. He also is bent over anytime he has to go into one of these areas, but in the central area, there's no ceiling, so he stands tall. But he just seems to be writing notes into a little booklet and looking at each of the items. What would you like to do?
I would like to make my way up. Do I see the staircase going up to that area with all the books?
Yep, there is a staircase on the side. It's kind of like a circular staircase that goes through all the floors.
I would love to just go up those staircase and start perusing through the books.
Okay, Timber and Talray, what would you like to do before I go to the bookshop with Sarathil?
I think Talray is gonna go up to this mechanical man and ask him a question because he doesn't like searching through stuff. He wants to get right down to it.
All right.
Timber is just gonna take a browse with his knowledge of knowing what is expensive and what's not from working with Reyna. He's just gonna take a little browse and then walk over to Sarathil and assess.
Okay. All right. So for that, Timber, give me an investigation check.
Do I get any sort of bonus for it?
Let's say if you, hell yeah. I'll give you advantage because you essentially ran a magic shop with your wife for a little while.
Oh, and I rolled a natural 20, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll say very first thing you notice, Timber, is, well, some of the stuff here is way, way more complicated and high end than you and Reyna sold. Prices here, because you can see a few small trinkets and compare it to what you maybe would have charged, way higher. There's a serious charge up happening in this place compared to what you would have sold. Like you can easily notice just sort of like very simple trinkets that are not that complicated to make that are definitely like double the price they probably should go for. So you can only imagine how what the markup is for some of the bigger stuff.
Got it.
Okay, so before I get to Talray talking to this Warforged, Sarathil, when you go upstairs, the wall is essentially entirely around this floor. There's kind of a mezzanine that goes all the way around with the light in the middle, and then there's rows of books, bookshelves all the way around in the horseshoe shape until it gets to the stairs that lead to the next floor. So there's probably honestly 1,000+ books here.
Is there? Well, fair enough. Is there a distinction or different sections between books in common, books in undercommon, books in dwarvish, or are they all just muddled together?
It seems as though there is some kind of organizational structure here that you can kind of recognize with your intelligence, but it seems to be someone's personal organizational structure as opposed to something that's accessible to outsiders. I'd say as you're kind of perusing each of the rows to look for things in common in Dwarvish, which there definitely are, but you would notice a lot of stuff that's not in language. Well, actually, what languages do you speak?
I believe it's just Common, Elvish, and Dwarvish. Common, Dwarvish, Elvish, and Sylvan.
Okay. So yeah, you would definitely see Dwarvish and Common, maybe a few in Elvish. But as you get kind of halfway through just kind of perusing and looking for structures, you would hear just sort of this strange muttering under their breath of someone who is in one of the bookshelf aisles. Because you would also notice there are little like podium, like to you they look like stools, like little footstools, but they are podiums that are the perfect size for a gnome-heighted person to like put a book down and read for a while. Way too short for you. You'd have to basically lie down on the floor, but there's someone here, basically.
Kind of just like peek or around the corner and just see who's there.
You would.
Well, I guess I'll say it like simultaneously, so I'm not being a weirdo. Like I will turn the corner. I'm not just like sitting there, just like looking at him. I'll turn the corner, and whoever is there, I'll be like, "Excuse me, do you own this this shop?"
You would see a deep gnome, Zvirfneblin, with the same kind of gray skin that Wizwick had. Probably a little bit more, whereas Wizwick had kind of this pale gray skin, this gnome has, there's a little bit more earth tones in it. And he has just a mess of white hair that is balding in the front, but the rest kind of comes out madly around the back, wildly. A massive mustache that is well manicured and kept with clean shaven all around the chin. He has these goggles on right now, and he's wearing kind of these blue and gold jumpsuit with several kind of like gems inlaid in it. And you can see he has the best way to describe it is like headphones. He has this band on the top that then has these two stones with runes on the back that then have a kind of like just like wool probably like built into them, and you can hear there's some quiet music coming from them. As he is just sort of muttering under his breath and humming to the music, while he seems to be working on this this gemstone that's glowing in front of him. That you can see he has several contraptions holding on to it as he's poking and prodding it with things. He definitely cannot hear you right now.
Turning the corner, is he facing towards me, away from me?
He's facing away from you. He's at the end of the kind of lane of books at one of these workstations.
Got it. I would walk up behind him and just tap him on the shoulder in a way that would trying to least surprise him.
Okay.
A courteous little tap.
Yep. The courteous tap doesn't seem to be quite enough. He seems to be completely ignore it as you see him just shaking his head now, as he just sort of like spins this tool and just like jams it right into this gem, and you can see there's kind of like this shockwave of magic for a second. Harmless magic. It doesn't like push you back or anything. And then you see him with a hand over to a book where he's reading his notes in there.
Peeking over to the book, can I read it?
Yeah, it's in common actually. So if you want to give me a perception check, I can let you know what he's working on.
Okay.
While you're doing that,
why?
I'm going to switch over to Talray and Timber. All right, so Timber, you're perusing the shelves. Talray, you're going up to this Warforge. What are you saying to him as he's working?
Well, hi there, partner. This is a swanky place. What does it work like a bar? Like the top shelf stuff is the nicest? As I'm like pointing upwards.
You see the automaton kind of like their body shifts to you first. Their head stays in the direction they were looking at, and then the head shifts back to you. out of sync with the body as it looks down immediately, finishes its notes, closes the book up tight with its hand, puts it under its arm. The pen disappears into the air, and then it kind of gives you a nice little bow as he goes, "Welcome, stranger, to..." His name again? "To Shindal Adamant Lifter's esteemed shop, the Seer's Sanctum. If you have interest in any of these fine artifacts, you may talk to me about acquisitions and trade. For Mr. Adamant Lifter is busy with his research."
I was talking to a folk by the name of Capricious, and he said you were this place was the place to go if you wanted something enchanted.
Enchantment requests are in high volume right now, given the crisis with the Illithid armies. There is a queue.
Oh well, I wouldn't want to wait that long. I wouldn't want to put the silly in danger by, taking advantage of your most, fantastic talents.
Well, thank you very much, purveyor, guest. There are premium prices, though, for quick orders.
Okay, I appreciate that, but like I said, I don't want to put you in over your head. Like it would be quite rude to cut in line.
Quite proper and kind of you, stranger. What is your name?
My name's Talray Glomarui.
A pleasure to meet you, Talray. My name is Telsa.
Elsa. That's a very nice name.
There are also pre-enchanted items for sale, if you do not want to wait. But if you were looking for an enchantment to one of your current possessions, that will have to wait.
Well, I wouldn't mind taking a look at your wares. What's your protocol on flying around in here?
Flight is acceptable, given that you do not exceed the second floor to the third floor, where is Mr. Adamant Lifter's private quarters. But if you'd like to fly up to the library, you could.
Well, that's quite all right. I'll stick to the ground floor then, I guess, and I'll just start.
If you could give me your budget and what you're generally seeking, I can look at our stock.
Okay. Well, I'm a ranger, so I can do some magics. Basically, I want anything that you would want. Maybe like if you were gonna give a gift to a king or dragon, or something really up there, some high quality stuff. I've just come into a heaping load of money, and I want something that'll help me on my adventures, keep me safe.
Correction. You're looking for a gift, and protection for yourself.
Well, you see, I'm not really the adventuring type, so like once I'm done with all this, I'll probably just give it away. So I would want it to. It's got to serve a dual purpose, if you know what I mean. I guess protecting me is number one priority, and then fanciness and gift quality would be number 2, and then number 3 would probably be Price.
I think I understand. A moment. And you see the entire body turns around, the head still looking at you, and starts walking away, and then the head turns with the body.
I lean over to Timber and say, what do you think of this place, huh? This guy seems to know what's up.
What?
Hey! You find anything?
It's too rich for my tastes.
Too rich? You just made so much money, man.
Walk over. Yeah, all this stuff is marked up to a higher degree. Also, I don't know what most of this does. But I can tell it's expensive based on that and that and... Can you read any of this, Talray?
No.
I'm gonna go find Sarathil.
All right. While you're heading up to find Sarathil, what did you get on that perception check?
2.
What was that?
2.
2? Really? Sorry.
Yep.
I'm gonna say it's a little difficult to read, just because the bright light from the gem and the chicken scratch of his handwriting. But I'll say you leaning over to kind of peek gets his attention.
Okay.
And you see he kind of immediately, while you're used to the people that you kind of accidentally sneak up on being like really fidgety, he just kind of like does a quick turn of the head very fast, almost like a squirrel that heard something. And then he'll make eye contact with you and spin around in his little stool next to the little podium and do kind of like a full couple twirls around before settling in front of you. And he takes the headphones off, and you can hear just really, really loud, aggressive, thaumaturgied bard music.
Good.
Someone with the deep lore of Aradun, forgotten lore, would know that this was invented by a bard a long, long time ago named Iroh.
Thinking the same thing.
Hell yes.
He drops the headphones down over his neck and just kind of, at first he just like is looking direct and then looks up to you. And in this space, like you're like definitely like scrunched down a little bit. The ceilings are quite short.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like holds his hands up and kind of like drops whatever's in his hands. He had like tools and stuff, and he kind of just tosses them back behind him, claps his hands together and looks up at you and says, "Welcome, friend. I'm so sorry I did not hear you there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see you found the library on your own."
Yeah, it was quite easy to find.
I'm surprised that Telza didn't stop you before you got up here. I gotta talk to that stupid robot.
Oh, I came with a couple friends, so no reason to be mad at him. He's probably talking with them right now.
He gets so all washed up in the organization of things and moving things around and putting them where I can't find them, in cases on display as opposed to in a pile in the corner like I like. Sorry. Shindal Adamant Lifter, at your service. Sarathil, pleasure to meet you. You look a little sick, friend. Are you okay?
I've felt never better.
Well, if you need a tonic, go over to the Gorgon's Reach, across the way. They sell some pretty good stuff. But if you're here and you seem quite wizened, wizardly, I'm sure you're looking for enchantments or scrolls or books.
Spells and books pique my fancy right now. I was taking a look before I met you. A lot of what is the organization here? Like the different parts of the histories of the kingdoms. Is if geography or lore, like do you organize that at all?
Well, I do keep the books organized in my own system that is completely and entirely based around how much I like the book. And a few other things, color coding, whether or not, how many times I fell asleep while reading it. That's also how some of them are organized. If I haven't read them, if it was a gift, if it was a re-gift, if it was something that really at the end of the day I don't really like. Yeah, it's organized all over the place. But I know where everything is, despite what Telza will say to you. Oh, what are you looking for, friend?
Well, I am looking for spells, and I imagine you keep them probably not in your library or somewhere else. But as far as books, I have to say, as you can probably tell, not from this area, the whole Underdark is very new to me. Any history you have on just maybe the formation of it, the cultures, the kingdoms that have risen and fallen, anything that you'd find interesting on that part, I would definitely love to read.
Okay, yeah, we've got some stuff about that. Are you more interested in, let's say, mythological tellings, or things that are more, let's say, reliable?
Reliable. Definitely
Okay.
reliable.
And you're looking for rise and falls of kingdoms, civilizational history, or are you looking for environmental history, understandings of geological formations, or is it just are you thinking about the big players in the Underdark over the centuries?
I mean, that's quite enough to. I don't even know where to start. How about? I mean, all of them.
Okay, all right. Are you looking to rent these books or purchase for ownership?
I would imagine that I would need to purchase these. My friends and I, are not spending too much time in town.
Fair enough, good friend. Give me a few moments and I can go and collect some things that might be of interest to you. While I'm doing that, though, could you also let me know if there are specific spell works that you're looking for so I can acquire those scrolls for you, too?
I think I don't have anything anything specific. I'm not sure how large your collection was, but I'd suppose.
Oh, it's substantial.
Let me ponder that for a second, if you don't mind grabbing the books. I'll meet you downstairs with my friends, and then maybe I'll talk with them, but might be best.
Sounds good, friend. Go ahead and talk with your friends. I'll meet you down there in just a few moments. And if you see Telza, just tell him, just make him get you something to drink if you want anything. He's a good robot. He's just a little bit overbearing, but make yourself at home down there. There's definitely plenty of artifacts down there you could take a look at if you're, if the books don't quite catch your appetite, but you want to purchase some fine materials. We also have some reagents available if that's something you're looking for. We don't have a huge stock of them, but we got some stuff.
Very well. I'll see you down there, friend.
Right away. And you see he opens up this pouch on his waist, and it seems to extend extremely longer than it should, almost like it's elastic. And it's clearly a bag of holding, and you see he literally just shovels what's on his workstation into the bag and closes it.
Good.
And wanders off.
I like
Say as you're heading down, you catch Timber.
Yeah. Oh, Sarathil. I need your ability to read these magic runes. I think most of this place is pretty expensive. This is like a rich town magic shop.
Well, what do I see the runes that he's referring to?
Oh, no, it's not just the runes. There's just like a bunch of magic items over there that I have no idea how to even...
Or what they are?
That. Mostly that.
Well, I have to say that... let's take a gander then.
But based on the price of this, I can only imagine what that is, and it's probably too much money.
You don't think he's ripping us off, do you?
I think he is ripping us off.
Good to know. Well, let's take a look and see what we can haggle.
Okay. All right. So you, what are you two doing? You're all kind of waiting in that central chamber now. What would you like to look at?
Just like the coolest stuff available, things that catch our eye, that look expensive, something that Sean has made up and want to show us, or I don't know,
Oh, goodness.
or you know, one of the things that Clayton and I mentioned.
Or you
Alright.
just put some enchanted stuff in front of me because he was looking for that.
True. All right. So you would see. Let's see. I'm just gonna list out a few different things. There is a. In one case, you can see there is this long, ancient-looking banner. It looks like it has. It looks like it's very, very old, but it's like it's got wear and tear on it, but it's whole cloth. Like there's no shreds in it. It just looks faded.
So wielded by a legendary Triton warrior.
No, that fell into Carcery. It has a big rune in the center of it, with metal plates sewn into it, and it could be attached to a staff or a pole. It's a lone banner right now, and yeah, that's all you can really see from it. It's clearly magical. You see a crown that is carved from dark purple and mauve stone, with 10 points like stalks set with gemstones resembling eyes. You see a little what looks like a little hand cannon with several runes across it, akin to Cal's firearm that you remember he had, Timber. There's a metal prosthetic arm. There is a fist-sized chunk of amethyst that seems to be floating of its own will. There's a beautiful golden amulet. There's a set of boots that look unremarkable. There
Are we
is what
supposed to stop you at some point, or
it's yeah, it's up to you.
Nope.
There seems to be an ever burning candle. And I would say that's mostly what you can see up front right now.
Well, I'll probably go for the gun thingy.
Worse.
I mean, I've just got to take a look at least.
With the stars that look like eyes.
So is there anything you want to take a particular look at, or you want to just wait for Telza to come back to let you know what it is?
Oh yeah, yep. That's probably easier.
Probably.
Yeah.
You would see Talray that he has come back with a what looks like another golden amulet similar to the one in the case. He's also come with this big hefty belt that has what looks like a dwarven face at on the buckle.
Ooh, I think I know what that one is.
He's also brought what looks like a series of iron bands all wrapped up together. and then a rune stone that he has. Let me check. But there's a lot of items here. So what would you like? What would he would come and say? There are a few different items to present to you, and he would look to Talray or Timber and Sarathil and say, "Welcome. Looks like you have been observing the different cases. Is there any questions you have about these items?"
Nothing captures my eye, but can't say the same for the other two.
I think Tawe would probably just put down the gun that he was looking at and head over and look at the things that were recommended to him.
Okay. Just look at the stuff that he brought with him.
Yeah.
Okay. So he would go on to explain what the items are, and basically one of them is the iron bands of binding, which are a rusty iron sphere, measures 3 inches in diameter, weighs 1 pound. You can use an action to speak the command word and throw the sphere at a huge or smaller creature you can see within 60 feet of you. As the sphere moves through the air, it opens into a tangle of metal bands. Basically, make an attack roll. I think you already know what this is, but I'll post a link to it in our chat.
Yeah, it's technically like a net made of.
Yeah,
steel.
it's a metal net basically. The belt is a belt of dwarven kind, which increases your Constitution score by 2, but also gives you the following benefits. You get dark vision if you don't already have it. You can speak, read, and write Dwarvish. You have advantage against saving throws against poison, and you have resistance against poison damage, as well as advantage on persuasion checks when you interact with dwarves.
And you have to have a full beard.
Yes. And then the golden amulet is a amulet of health, which is automatically increases your con score to 19.
That's not very helpful for me. I already have one of those.
But those are the things he has that he brought out.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna pick up the iron bands of binding, and put basically I'm just holding it in my hands. I'm like, seems quite useful. What do I do after it activates? Does it come back to me, or how does that work?
Well, I believe that if you speak the command word, you can control it. You release whatever it is holding. But they can only be used once per day, and they reorient themselves in the following day.
Seems practical.
Very useful for keeping enemies at bay, capturing things far away, or just simply to show off to their friends.
Yeah, I find that, I'm not particularly, fit to have combat with multiple creatures, especially when they get close up to me. So this might be just what I needed. How much?
Let's see. Given the nature of the item, the complications of its creation, this item would go for 4,000 gold pieces.
I look it over like I'm nodding, approvally, and then I look over to Timber for confirmation. My constituent seems to believe that that's not really a fair price. maybe we can work something out.
We do accept trade-ins here at the Seer Sanctum if you are looking to offset your prices.
I mean, come on. I saved the city. We did some cool things. You know, I know the Gloom Lord. I just met him yesterday. Maybe I can, you know, do something for you and you do something for me. I'm not in town long, but you know,
Go ahead and give me a persuasion roll.
is there a hero discount? Yes, the -1 persuasion. I was waiting for this. I got a 10.
Well, we are open to trades and some negotiations. The pricing of our magical items have been appraised appropriately. I can take off 200 gold pieces from the price to sell it to you for 3,800.
Now I look at Timber. All right. I guess we'll have to think on it. And I put the circle back on the table.
Fair enough. Understandable. A purchase of a magical item is a serious decision to make. Are there any other items that you would like information about in the displays?
Yes. What's this? This one with the stars and the that look like eyes or something.
Yes. This is a very rare artifact found in one of Mr. Adamanlifter's excursions through the Unterlands. Found in a deep, deep cavern in an underground temple to some nefarious old gods. We have identified this as Bellashira's Beholder's Crown. It is a symbiotic crown carved from dark purple and mauve stone. It will be slightly uncomfortable if you were to attune to this, as it will bond to your flesh. And it will give you, let's just say, some devastating abilities with the gemstones. We don't, this is a rather particularly dangerous item. We don't usually will sell this one to just any collector, but with the right price, we can definitely part ways with it.
Well, I don't need something else living on me, so never mind.
Any of these other fine items?
What's this candle go for?
5,000 gold.
Yes.
Wax is really rare down here.
People only empty out their ears every so often.
This item goes for 15,000 gold pieces.
And what does it do?
The candle burns for 4 hours. While lit, the candle sheds some light, obviously. Okay. Any creature within the light whose alignment matches it. Candle makes. If the creatures within the candle's light align with its origin alignment, if you're a bit more chaotic, or if you're a bit more lawful, or good, or evil, it has different effects upon you. If a cleric or druid in the light whose alignment matches the candles can cast first level spells he or she has prepared without expending spell slots, though the spell's effect is as if it was cast at first level. Alternatively, when you light the candle for the first time, you can cast 8 with it, but doing so destroys the candle. So basically, it's a candle that if, say, Curon had it around him and lit it up, and his alignment matches with it, his first level spells are basically cantrips. And it can be cast without expending slots. Or you can use it right away to cast Gate.
Oh, cool. Yes, I like candles. I'll buy that.
You see, as soon as you say that, he opens up a drawer underneath it, and you can see a bunch of these candles are in the drawer. And they're all different colors, matching the different array of alignments there are. So if you're looking to purchase this to align with Curon's spellcasting, I imagine you'd want a lawful good one.
Yep, that's exactly
Spoiler alert, Kieran's been chaotic evil this
whole time. I'm like trying to think of the gift. Oh, would he like this? Would he like this? Yeah.
Okay. So the one he pulls out, you would see the wax itself is this golden radiant color with little different sigils on it that are a kind of like a bright blue, like almost a baby blue that glows. And yeah, he hands it over to you and says, "Would you like this to be gift wrapped, if this is a gift, or we also offer gift receipts for such items?"
This gift wrapping will do wonders. Thank you.
Absolutely.
He likes green wrapping.
Green?
Yeah,
we can do that.
Mm-hmm. It really contrasts with the purple that he.
You see, he takes it over to a station and waves a hand, and you see magically this whole wrapping paper station appears on the desk, and he's like, and his hands just start going wildly around, super fast. You see, then he comes back and hands you this kind of cylindrical wrapping around it that is very complicated and nice, with a nice, lovely purple bow on it.
Perfect. I'm glad I purchased this candle.
Is there anything else of interest to you?
How about this weapon over here? And I pick back up the gun.
Yes, this is a Arcane Cannon. It has several different suppositions and runic structures to give different effects, such as this. And you see he takes it out and adjusts it, and suddenly the runes light up green. And you see he waves his hand, and suddenly this little like black hole forms, a small one in front of him, and he fires the gun into the black hole to safely fire it so it doesn't destroy anything in here. You see a stream of acid shoots out of the gun. And he adjusts it and fires it again. And a frost shot shoots out. He looks at you and says, "This is a very complicated device that needs to be charged and activated. It takes, one might say, 12 seconds to fire each round. Takes an action to set up the gun and then another action to shoot it. It can be operated from more than one person can operate it, so you can like set it up to fire and someone else can then fire it, or vice versa. It's pretty big. It's not exactly like a revolver kind of size. It's more like a legitimate like cannon that you would carry, or like a gun that's the kind of gun where you're holding it with the handle on the top and then the other hand, and it has a strap on the shoulder.
Okay.
What are those called?
Like a light machine gun?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking something a little bit more on the smaller side. It's like, well, that's mighty impressive, but I believe that my weapon is a little bit superior, and I just like spin it around and grab it and like shine, like make it look cool.
Yeah. Fair enough. Is there anything else that you would all like to see?
Oh, no enchanted items you said on the in storage or in transit that you could
Well, we have
possibly spare.
Or we have other things in our inventory if you have something in specific you're looking for.
Maybe a set of studded leather or a light armor of sorts that is magically imbued, or a cloak or something.
Oh, well, if you're looking for... You said you were looking for things to protect yourself. We do have a number of cloaks of protection in stock, as well as we may have a set of enchanted studded leather, depending on the degree of enchantment that you're looking for. So yeah, you could definitely buy a cloak of protection here if you wanted to, or a ring of protection, and there would definitely be like +1 or +2 studded leather here.
So the +2 studded leather, how much would that go for?
That would be studded leather armor. I would say that would be +1 studded leather would be 3,000 gold pieces.
+1, okay.
+2 would be more, yeah. This +2 would be very rare, so that would get you up to probably a little more than double the price. So you're looking at 7,000 gold pieces.
Okay. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of goodness. Take the +1, and that's 3,000 gold pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a deal.
Yeah. If you wanted to, a cloak of protection would cost 750 gold.
I only have 1 attunement slot left, so that doesn't help me.
Okay. All right. So yeah,
I guess it wouldn't be much of a difference though if I just got the cloak instead of the stud leather.
That's true. Yeah. But the I believe, yeah, the difference is the studded leather is not an attunement slot.
Oh, okay. All right, well then let's get both and save money in the long run.
There you go. So it'll cost you 3,750 gold for the total package.
Sounds fair.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I get that $300 discount that he was gonna take off the other thing?
Nope. All right. Are there any more of these artifacts you want to check out, or can we transition to Sarathil's inquiries with Adamant Lifter?
I'm good for now.
Okay. All right. So Sarathil, you would see Adamant Lifter would come down the steps, with a stack of books in his hands. He would come up to you with these. He has 3 books here. He hands you the first one, which is probably the thickest one. This is Zindal Terratemper masterwork, known as the Annals of the Underdark, Tales of Shadow and Light. This is probably going to be your most boring read, but it's also going to be the most thorough and reliable about Underdark history.
Very good.
This next one is Thalune's Guide to the Myths and Legends of the Underdark. This is a bit less reliable, but it's a good resource for kind of cross-referencing with Zeindl's work. To be like, oh, look, here's this myth about a big old fire giant, and that correlates with his records about the ruse or whatever, the myth of the fire giant, whatever it might be. You can cross-reference the mythological history with the straightforward historian's perspective to maybe gain some insight.
Of course, it's always wise to have several pieces of primary documentation.
And then this third book I just grabbed because I thought it might be fun for you. This one is Brickthen's Guide to the Geological Epochs of the Underdark. It is a little bit more of a nerdy perspective on the geological history of what makes up the Underdark, given that it is such a strange place. Brickthen is a celebrated scholar of his time, who is said to have done the most thorough excavation of the Underdark of any individual in history. He even has some some sneaky passages about my old hometown that's not supposed to be known by most folks. Good old Smoothold. If you're headed north, though, I would not let anyone catch you with this book.
Any other Snurf Neblins?
Yeah, they don't really like it. They don't like people knowing anything about home.
I see. So you grew up there? Turning to Timber and... Is Timber there too?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, so you grew up there?
Yes.
Yes.
No, it's not. Did you? Did you happen? Yes. Yes, he said yes.
Never mind. Continue.
Did you happen to know of a Wizwick? Pedri, Pezzy.
Wizwick, Bill Groove, Farlight, Yellen, Jedri, Pedri, Netherrock. Yeah, I know who he is. I only know. I mean, I knew that he was Jacorb, Stala, Qyburn, Nesn, and Zilbar, Zexum, Netherrock's son. That's only really all I knew about him. Because Jacorb, his father, he's a very famous soldier.
Is that right?
Very, very famous arcane trickster. He did a lot of good work in the Underdark. Back in Smoothold.
Well, yes. He was our companion for a while. He's actually was with us as we first traversed this Underdark.
No, he's coming home. Last I heard, he left.
He was trying to get home, but had a little and he has passed.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It is a wound upon the Zirfneblin light. So I take it that you're perhaps or heading back north to bring him home?
That was what we're doing, yes.
Well, I will warn you, it is quite difficult to get into Smoothold. There are a series of illusions and traps and guardians in your way.
I know it's your own home, but is there any light you can shed on it? We do have... Go ahead.
While I possess a book that has some of these secrets, and I will sell it to you for profit, I myself will hold myself to a principle of not sharing any secrets about our homeland.
Of course. I won't pry anymore. But just know we are taking his body there to be laid to rest. And we have his golem, who's been our companion since.
A golem? Interesting. Something like Telza over there?
Yes. Actually quite similar. A construct.
Well, Telza is actually a manufacturing of Kolpolt Rodstva. Worked with Capricious to find lightning elemental to this automaton form. It's a little bit different, I imagine, from what old Wizwick crafted there.
It
Okay.
had one hell of a punch, though. But not to linger too much on that anymore. The books, they sound lovely. How much are you willing to charge for them?
If you're looking to own, it will cost you 450 gold for the whole set. 150 each.
I will take them. And I was thinking a little bit more.
I believe your friend Timber here is loudly eating snacks in the shop.
I don't know where he got them from.
Oh, I'm sorry. I ate my mouth closed.
You see Telza had given Timber some little treats that were wrapped up individually.
I'll give him the gold for the books and put him in my satchel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I thought more of spells, and I've seen across some in my lifetime that I would very much like to learn. Hopefully, you have them here. The first one, being a spellcaster, I've always had, especially people who have martial prowess, coming at me with swords and such, and I need to find a way to slow them down. So I was wondering if you have a slow spell.
Classic, the slow spell. Let's see, a third tier power transmutation. Does require a drop of molasses and a focus of the arcane nature. That I could definitely part ways with. I definitely have a copy of that scroll somewhere. It is a third tier level scroll. It's going to cost you, I would say, 500 gold pieces.
Just to clarify, I get the scroll. There is magic imbued into the scroll that I can use. However, whatever's written on it, I can copy it to my spellbook for gold as well.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the scroll in its own nature is a one-time cast.
Yes.
But if you spend the extra gold for the 3 levels
Yes.
and the 3 hours to scribe it, then you can have it permanently.
I would take it, but as long as you have, do you happen to have the components as well on you?
Oh yeah, I can include a drop of molasses with that from the stores. No charge.
You say 500?
Yep, 500 gold pieces.
I will take that. Perfect. Here's your money.
Oh, thank you. Anything else that you want?
I'm sure you're no stranger to what's happening outside the walls of the city here with the Illithid knocking down your door. Disgusting beats. I don't know if you had the pleasure of seeing them at all.
I did not hear about that. I've been deep in my work for the last few months. And you see Telza kind of looks over and is like, I've told you quite a few times, Mr. Adamant Lifter, that the city is under attack. Oh, well, it's news to me.
Well, I will not need to get into it too much. However, these beings come from another realm. And it'd be most beneficial if to be encountered again, or any other sort of being from another realm, to banish them back to where they came from.
Banishment, 4th tier, abjuration. Let's see, and he does little calculations in his head. We do have such an item in our stores. Let's see, it's a bit more complicated of a spell than slow. I would say this one would cost you, let's say, 1,000 gold pieces. And it does have a rather strange component with it. Often wizards will carve something at a little sigil that is distasteful to the target. Now, I could provide you for an extra 25 gold pieces with a universal distasteful target to all targets. So that you don't have to worry about carving a new thing, because you're like, oh, look, it's a fucking fiend. What are they scared of? Holy water? Oh, no, now it's a Celestial. I gotta get rid of that guy. But I got Holy Water. He likes that. I gotta find something fiendish. It's a big problem. So I can provide you with one thing distasteful to all.
What object? Out of curiosity, what would that be?
Trade secrets I will not give you. But 25 gold will get you the answer.
It's clearly a telemarketer.
So, 1,025 gold, you get the scroll and the distasteful item.
So, now let me know, what is it?
Absolutely, excellent. And you see he reaches into his bag of holding and pulls out a little small marble statue of just a hand flipping you off.
Nice.
This is thoroughly calibrated to work with the banishment spell, and I've learned that across all planes of existence, everyone knows the bird.
I'm not familiar with the bird. I'm very unaware of the bird, actually.
Did you not hear of the bird? It's the new word in town.
Nope. Shutting it down, because I almost started it too.
Started it.
Oh, well, you're clearly not from any plane of existence, but it is flipping the bird. It is a universal sign of distaste, and I don't, we know what it means at the end of the day. It means, fuck you.
Very well.
Did you just insult your customer?
No, I've insulted many customers before, but I'm still in business.
Oh, I guess there's not much.
The customer is not always right, is my policy. And he points to a sign that you can't read because it's another common.
Oh, okay. All right, now I understand.
This last one I saw was quite powerful, but it might be a doozy. Not sure if you may have it. It's a 7th tier spell.
Oh.
And it is a way of I tend not to murder things. I have to take that back as a way to address it.
I tend not to murder things.
I try not to murder as much as I can. I don't like particularly getting in fights and only use dangerous spells whenever most necessary. There's a way I can contain things. A very strong magical force to contain them. I've seen this before, where it's a cage with forceful energy. Like a force cage.
Interesting stuff. Experimental, one might say. I didn't take you for a scientist, but I like a scientist. 7th tier evocation, requiring the most recent experiments with that spell require a significant portion of ruby dust, I recall. About 1,500 gold pieces worth of ruby dust. Now, I couldn't help but notice that your coin purse that you've been gathering your money from is full of gems as well. So you might already have enough rubies that just need to be ground down. You might want to take some inventory there. Well, let's see. A 7th tier evocation. Oh dear. This is quite up there in the costs. Very rare. I would say that level of spell would cost you... Give me a quick persuasion roll. Because you've bought so much from him already and he kind of likes you. So let's see if you can get a discount on this.
Nat 1. Let's say it is 9.
What is up with your
Mike!
dice?
D&D Beyond hates you.
It really does.
Can I give it an advantage? Look.
What do you say? Yeah, what do you say to try to get him advantage?
These shouldn't be this. Look at the price of this. Look at the price of this. I bought this for this much on the surface. Okay, this should not be that much. We only traveled what? 50 miles. Not worth that much gold. I'm just saying the price difference is way too much
I'll absolutely give you advantage, Sarathil, for Timber basically being like, whenever you're in the store and you're trying to buy something and you're like, your dad or your mom is there and they're like, no way, you're not spending that much money on this.
I got a guy for this. I can get this somewhere else.
So go ahead and roll again.
15.
15. Okay, that is exactly what you needed.
Oh,
DC 15.
You're too kind.
All right. Well, given that you seem to be a scientist yourself, I think I can part ways with a scroll of Force Cage for 8,000 gold pieces.
Absolutely. I'll take you up on that offer. No haggling.
I hope you would. It's a 3,000 gold discount for a fellow scientist. But you must report back to me as soon as you can about the results of the experiment.
I have a partner that is traveling with me that has sending.
Excellent.
Yeah, I have your name. I've seen your face. I can let you know you are the one from my dreams.
Excellent. Most joyous to meet you. What was your name again?
Sarathil. I know it's not common, just Sarathil, no surname.
Oh, no surname. Excellent. Like I said, my name is... what is his first name? I lost it. Where'd you go? There it is. Shindal Adamantlifter. And I'm a very peculiar and non-traditional Zvirfneblin, as you can tell. And normally we only gift names to our family members, but I don't really have a family, as you can tell by the shortness of my name. So, I like you, Sarathil, and you could use a surname. So, as far as I'm concerned, your name is, let's see, what would fit you? Sarathil Scroll Snatcher. Sarathil Scroll Snatcher. Because you've got such a penchant for purchasing scrolls.
If that's what you wish to remember me by.
Does he get?
It's the name that I shall know you by, as a fellow scientist.
You're too kind. And your assistance was much appreciated.
Of course, Scroll Snatcher. Now, is there anything else that I can help you with? Because I have a lot of pressing issues to address, especially if the city is under attack.
Yes, you should get a look into that. And I'm afraid, no, I'm a bit tapped out. I'm not a walking bank. I think I spent all of my money.
Oh, well, hey, you know what I always say is gold in your pocket doesn't do much at all.
Oh, speaking of, can I buy another candle? I really like this one.
Do you have another 15,000 gold pieces?
Here you go.
15,000 gold pieces for a candle?
Oh, 15,000.
Well, I feel like you may have miscalculated your
I'm gonna go!
Okay. I think that's
It's a good thing that Warforged can't count.
Yeah, because I only gave him 1,500.
He's just been spouting out numbers because he doesn't know what to do. He's the worst shopkeep ever.
Okay. So, you all are leaving the shop now?
Yes.
All right,
I just
excellent.
wanted to clarify though, Sean.
Yeah.
The magic bonuses don't stack.
Did you attune to the Cloak of Protection?
I did, and it did not give it to me because I guess it would be like 2 magic items that both give +1.
No,
It
that's
shouldn't.
they should stack.
It didn't work.
All right, don't worry. I'll take a look at your character sheet during the break. All right, so that's it for magic shopping. We are going to transition back to our good friend Curon now for some sendings.
Who, me?
He'll change the mood. Okay. My friend Kieran.
Hey, it's me. What's up? How's it going? Who are you?
Well, my name is Shindal.
Ah, sure.
But you have some sendings. Send.
Yeah. Oh, Kieran's got some sections. So first, I'd say this is like almost immediately after our meeting with the Gloom Lord. Kieran is going to sending plus to Svenhen. I don't know if I can send both of them at once.
Yes, you can, because they are magically, like, as far as like the construction of the universe, they are
Right.
one soul.
Okay. So, how does Kieran talk? Greetings, Sven Hen. I hope your travels have been unmolested by illithids. We have reached Kolpolt Rodstva. Kolpolt Rodstva.
Kolpolt Rodstva.
Rod. That's okay. I was getting the rod. Rod.
Rodstva.
Rodstva. Okay. And helped rally the Gloom Lord here. I would ask you establish connections with him before moving against the illithids. I actually set him up with a cool Tempest of Fear Soul for the next 2 days, so time may be of the essence. Moonlight guide you, friend. From the Twilight Shepherd.
Svenhen would respond, and because it's like a magical response in your mind, the voice is doubled. You hear it. You hear both voices of Sven and Hen at once in your head. Twilight Shepherd, I have rallied my people, and they gather near the kiln to attack. Do you need us to come north to Kolpolt Rodstva?
Yes, I think it's best if you plan with the Gloom Lord, unless it's more than a 2 days travel. In which case,
It is more than 2 days travel.
okay. Kieran will just relay all the information he has, that there is an Eldritch Brain currently trapped in the thing. He's not sure what the Gloom Lord's immediate plans are, but he does have this planar ally that is assisting him to some capacity. Again, Kieran lets on. I'm not sure exactly what the Gloom Lord plans with his new ally, but the illithids have been struck a serious blow, and their elder brain rests outside the fortress here.
Well, if they've been locked off from their headquarters in the kiln, they cannot reinforce it. It might be wise for us to attack while they are trapped in the north. A dual-fronted attack.
Yes. You know these lands better than I. You know the enemy better than myself already. If you think this is a good plan, just be careful. Your people must fight, but they must survive as well.
I will rally my people and coordinate an attack within the next 2 days. If the Dwerg are successful, Kiln will be weak, ripe for an assault.
Fantastic. I wish you the best in the coming battles, and I hope to meet you again.
We thank you for your guiding light, Twilight Shepherd.
Well, it's really all Ilyvania. I'm just a vessel for her power, but thank you. Ends the communique. Kiran will then send another message, sending plus message to Wizwick's sixth sister, Fizri, with which Kiran says to her magically, through the spell, that is, Fizri, it is, actually, he'd be like, Fizri, Netherrock. It is with a heavy heart I must inform you of your brother's passing. We entered the Underdark and were beset by mind flayers, where we lost Wizwick. We return now to Smoothold in the next week. If you are able to safely meet us there, I'm sure it would ease your brother's soul watching through Noldagra. Kiran.
You don't get an immediate response, but you have, through the spell, an overwhelming sense of pain, heartbreak comes through. Zirf Neblin have a sort of bond with one another where these feelings are felt amongst their communities. When they're close together, they have a certain sense of empathy, slightly magical. That seems to be coming through with the spell. All you can gather from it is that she's too distraught to really respond. You know that she's out there and alive,
Right.
but seems to overwhelm this news to respond fully. You get like small little things here as she tries to speak, but the grief is too great.
Kiran will just end with, I'm so sorry. Terminate the call. And then Kiran will actually, with some of his leftover legend lore opponents, cast a little legend lore on the mind flayers, specifically the Elder Brain. Just going back through the spell description, it says that the more you know about the specific legendary thing, which I assume mind flayers are legendary in your world.
Yeah.
Not like some random house of humans. With the more information you already have about the thing, the more precise and detailed the information you receive is. So I understand Kiran is not well versed with these things, but he's fought them face to face. He understands what the Elder Brain is, one of their leaders. He kind of understands their origin from beyond Carcery. So just trying to milk it for as much as I can get.
Yeah, totally. To increase clarity, is there anything in particular that you're looking
I think it would be about the Elder Brain itself, and then their direct connection, if there is one, to Carcery and the Harbinger.
Okay. So you would receive, as you're performing the ritual, laying out the incense, displaying the ivory and the configuration. When you've done these legend lores in the past, there's usually visions that you see. Accessing the store of knowledge that what remains of Ilyvania can give you. And while they can be overwhelming in some senses. They are not painful. They're overwhelming in the sense of like what you see is a lot. Or to think back to like seeing Sanctum Tomb in Chromatis Hinterlands, like it's a jarring image, but it was palatable. These images strike you fast, hard, and you're only getting quick glimmers of them, with the screeching noises in your mind, similar to pain of the mind flayers attacking your mind. As you can see, quick images of the cosmos, the astral sea that lays beyond Carcery. Just these fields of stars in void darkness. And small glimmer of light as you can see the Mind Flayer vessel floating in this infinite emptiness. It doesn't like propel itself necessarily. It seems to almost just be floating there. And then there's just sort of this quick charging light, and then it seems like they travel exclusively through like heightened dimension door gate-like spells in this astral sea. Less so than they have some kind of propulsion engine on the ship. And you could just see images of this ship through the cosmos searching. And then all at once, very quickly, there are images of like their persistent living cycle there, where they feed on whatever they can. And you can see these draughts where they don't get, are starting to starve. And they seem to put themselves in these Seramorph chambers, and when they do, they kind of degenerate back into tadpoles to save their resources. But there's always an elder brain with a hive that never degenerates and stays alive throughout the entire thing, pilots the ship when all the others go into this tadpole stage. This is when they're the most vulnerable, because to reassert these Mind Flayers into full Mind Flayer form, they need to find hosts. You can see like images of them, like the ship with its tentacles wrapped around, like just like this floating massive corpse. That makes you think of the statement that the Harbinger said to you, "I've walked amongst derelict gods." And then you would find the ship is approaching a mass of shadow with these green veins of lightning running through it that you can tell is Carcery. From this understanding, the astral sea, that infinite void of star and emptiness, is beyond the outside. And you can see, almost walking on the stars themselves, you can see the Harbinger approach this derelict Mind Flayer ship. And you get an image of him stepping through the ship's empty halls, through the Seramorph chambers, overwhelming with tadpoles, as he approaches the feeble elder brain. And very similar to the way he touched that font in the old world before the Morseer, to initiate the Morseer and corrupt it, he touches the elder brain. And it seems almost like those motes you fought come off of his own flesh onto the elder brain, giving it strength, life. And suddenly those motes start to infest the entire ship in the Seramorph chambers, as he's essentially assimilating this hive mind to his will. This is the story of this particular hive. But it seems like all Mind Flayers hives exist in this very high and low state of intense invasion into a world, and then long stretches of starvation in the vast emptiness of the astral sea.
Okay. With this knowledge, Kieran feels a little like, oh man, that's a bit of a bummer. And then the message to Fizri. So he's gonna get out, get some fresh air, and he's gonna go stop by the forge.
Okay.
He approaches, sees Scarlet is there, gives her some space at first. He'll actually go to the like the altar, or the memorial type thing, and he's going to take a platinum piece and press it against it as like tribute. Just giving some thanks to the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. You would see Capricious would see you doing this, and he would walk over, and he wouldn't say anything. He would just give you kind of a nod of a show of respect to another cleric, because he can kind of tell from your vibe. And then he'll offer you a ceremonial hammer to hammer the piece into the wall.
Yeah, Kieran will take it and ding, ding, ding. Hammer it in. And then I think, he'll offer the hammer back. No words exchanged, just politely nods. And then we'll go kind of like hang out. I imagine for some reason there's like a fence around the thing. And Kieran will lean against the fence and just kind of like observe the space and just kind of chill. I guess focusing on Scarlet, watching what she's doing and seeing the work she's putting into her craft.
Yeah, and Scarlet, if you'd like, you can kind of give a description of the work Scarlet's doing.
Yeah. So, Kieran, you see that she is completely, like, in the moment. Like, this is the only time you've ever seen her really focused on something. Meditation is hard. Not being paranoid is hard, but this seems really easy for her. And she's just taking everything in. She's covered in the soot from the forge and sweating because it's hot, and just hammering away at these daggers, or the dagger that she's working on. And all of her other stuff is like put to the side, and she's just got like an apron on that she probably borrowed from Capricious, and just fully in it. So she doesn't even notice that you're there.
I think after a while, Kieran will be interested, and he'll kind of like come up to inspect her work, a little bit looking over her shoulder, and he'll go, "Oh, that looks very nice. Yes, very nice indeed."
And like mid hammer, I'll just like look and miss, and just hit my thumb, and just
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to sneak up on you like that.
Oh my god. It's
I
fine.
thought you could hear me from a mile away. You know me and my stealth rolls.
No, that's the third time I've done that today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's
Do you need a little? And he'll just flick of a wrist healing word.
Yeah, you feel, Scarlet, like you definitely feel like this is like the third time or so you've accidentally hit your thumb, and like oh, that time I cracked a bone. And then you just feel that quick pinching pain as the holy light kind of but then like there's a soothing warmth to it, almost like someone put some icy hot on the wound after it healed.
cute. What are you doing here?
Oh, I had just sent out some messages to our allies. I gave Wizwick's sister the news. I should have done it sooner, but
More pressing things.
and the idea of dealing with a loved one, of someone somewhat responsible for their passing. I just wanted to put it off for a little longer.
It's understandable.
But hopefully she is able to meet us back in Smoothold, and I can let her know that Wizwick's, well, he's not here with us right now. He's still here with us, and Kieran gestures towards wherever we're staying and wherever Noldo is. He's still here through Noldo and Noldegra, and he's coming back, he said. So she should know that at least. But for the time being, you know.
It was good that you let her know, Kieran.
Yes. Yes, and I wanted to, and at this point, Kieran's kind of like walking around, picking things up, looking at them, like, just say that, yeah, oh, this is individuals. He's a good smith. This is nice. Wanted to apologize for
What?
snapping at you last night. I know
No.
you have things you think you need to do, and they don't always. They're not what I think is best. But if everyone did what I thought was best, the world would probably be a more boring, orderly though, but boring place.
There's no apology necessary, Kieran. I shouldn't have done it. It's stupid and selfish.
Well, and it's not that I understand, wishing to speak to him. That wasn't what I was worried about. It was the Cirrus and her adamant, her need to control you.
Like I said, it wasn't worth it. He was... I don't even know the word to describe him, Kieran. I don't know if I can get through to him. I tried the sentimental approach, and that just made him angrier. And I'm just desperately holding on to the notion that there's something left of the 18-year-old that I knew. The aloof, curious sweetheart of a person. He's not there anymore. And I just can't accept it.
No, I think you're right. You shouldn't accept it. Reese is still in there. He simply wears a mask. Pallid one at that, but
Doesn't seem to be in there.
I don't know exactly the nature of the Wayward Ones, or the Pallid King's magics. Whether he corrupts or controls, whether it's through free will that Reese took this mask. You saw, as I did, what was happening in Vermelsia under the corruption through Kieran gestures towards the prongs. And that individual whose name I've forgotten, I feel bad because we inadvertently led to his death. He was probably going to die anyway.
It's Bram.
Yes, Brom, thank you. You saw the corruption that happened to him, but he was still in there. And this was only, a short amount of time that he was with the cursed item of the Pallid King. Your brother's been with that mask for who knows how long.
12 years at this point.
Its roots run deep in him. It will not be an easy task to free him from it, but when we are...
Do you think he's still there, or should I stop trying?
You should never stop trying. When we stop trying, why would we even continue moving forward?
This makes me so angry. So angry. I mean, he did when we were younger as well, but this is a different kind of anger.
Right. Well, remember, it's not all him. Sometimes we are simply the pawns of those much more powerful than us. Though we all have our free will. You know, something I've thought about long, and, you know, is it all just predestined, or do we have agency in here? And, you know, many scholars go back and forth between it, but that... If I've learned one thing in our travels, it's that you should never underestimate those with a strong heart. And as I've seen from you, strong hearts run in your family. Don't give up on your brother. Not yet.
I don't want to, but he's making it so difficult.
Well, maybe give him a little space. I'm sure we'll meet up with him soon enough, and when we do, maybe you'll be the one in control. Maybe you'll be the one with that upper foot. Where he'll come at you with those, what is it? Those bites and those, you know, annoying things that people say. I'm looking for a word and I can't think of it. Quips, I don't know. He's gonna rile you up, and you just have to look at him and say, "Not today, Reese. Today I don't choose violence."
He did mention the 15th of Philidglow. Is that right?
Yep, the Wild Shadow.
He has a meeting with Kinsley, and he said if I wanted to see him, that's where he'll be.
Yes, I believe he had told Kaz the same thing. I believe I was privy to this information.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's only in. Kieran checks his calendar. Watch.
1 month.
It's a month.
1 month. One month from today. Oh, we've got a lot to do if we're gonna make that date.
I mean,
Well, Wizwick.
we don't.
Someone.
Nice if we can make it, but
Yes.
we have much more important things to worry about.
Well, we'll see where the fates lead us, and when we see Reese again. For it's hard not to imagine we'll run into him again. We'll be ready.
We don't deserve you, Kieran. For all the good
Please.
that you do.
I don't deserve all of you. I always thought I would have much more lawful good. No,
Well,
I'm just
then
kidding.
you-
I'm just kidding.
And you met us, and that all went to shit.
Life is all about balance. Balance, order with chaos. Good with not evil, but like a little bit of neutrality, I guess. We balance each other out. It's just a good team. We Wayward Five.
I agree.
But what are you working on here? Kieran says, pointing to the daggers.
Oh, do you want to know how it works? I can show you.
Well, yes, but I was wondering. You know, this is a Forge of Fierce Soul, isn't it? And you've got
Yes.
a Cleric of Fierce Soul and a Cleric of Illuvanian. Now, I don't know anything about smithing, but I do know a thing or two about magic. I
Want to
wonder
make
if,
something?
the divine above would allow us to infuse a little magic in these things.
It's worth a shot.
You know, maybe it'd be cool if, like, when you throw the daggers, they, like, explode or something, like fires you cast. You know, theme it a little.
Perhaps.
So we'll experiment.
Yeah, why don't you... Okay. Describe to me, Kieran, your infusion of Illuvania's magic into the dagger.
Power word death.
So what I was going for here was just basically like it does an additional like 1d6 or 1d8, magical damage. Kieran, I had thought that Fear Soul was the one, like Kieran would help just basically come up with the idea about more Scarlet, and maybe Capricious and the Forge itself would kind of add like fire damage. But if Kieran's the one that's going to do this, it would be
So I
radiant
think
damage.
Capricious will help
Mm-hmm.
work with this because I have an idea already.
Okay, cool.
You see, Capricious will come up to you if you were to ask him to help with this.
Yeah, I think
which I
Kieran would be like, "Hey, you do this stuff better than me."
He would look at your work, Scarlet. What does the dagger look like that you crafted? It's probably not as complicated as your Cinderlily dagger because that would take a lot longer.
Yeah, no.
But
No,
is there any?
I think the blade is just a standard dagger blade, but I think she would have in the hilt maybe factored in a little bit a design that looks like a rock elemental to kind of, because as she was working and as she's been talking with Kieran, she's thinking of the Reese that she knew and the elemental that he befriended. So kind of like just a small representation of that in the hilt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I imagine like the like cross guard and the pommel of the hilt kind of have a rocky structure to them.
Mhm.
More raw looking but intentional.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You'd see Capricious would be like observing it in his hands. Maybe toss it up in the air a little bit.
I balance it
Stat.
right.
You see he tosses it up in the air and you see he catches it on his fingertip on the blade's point. Kind of just holding it there. And then drops it and catches it. And cuts it into a block of wood that he has there. A very impressive blade.
Gosh, that's the parts that I always have trouble with is balancing it, but sometimes I get it right.
Quite balanced for the ornamentation on it. But you've clearly worked in a forge much before. And you have the respect of seemingly knowing this forge is sacred.
Forge is sacred.
Forge is sacred.
And also with your
And with your spirit.
And no, that's what I meant.
And this is the energy you've put into this blade and what I've heard of you and your companions. Reminds me of a legendary blade. Dagger lost to time, but known to us forge clerics in the lore. Called Lan Sholas. Blade of the Dawn. Said to have been wielded in first hours of the Morsia conflict by Vosrun. Sacrifice. Not many know of that conservator god.
I'm sorry, who is it?
Vosrun. I don't think I've seen a worshipper of Vosrun in my entire life. Temples are all quiet across the land.
Heard it.
Few have.
Johnny was one of the statues in Sumerlinden.
Well, I don't think I was there when Jack explained it to us.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were yeah.
I don't know if Scarlet was either. That's just where I remember it from.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, if you're able to help infuse some magic into this dagger, Kiran, Celestani. I think I can do some work as well. Eventually, give you something interesting. Might require some investment from you for some of the ritual items.
And I
course.
can offer an extra set of hands as well.
So my question is, how much do you want to invest in this?
Well, follow-up question. What's the upper end of this look like?
So you could, I'd say there's 3 tiers to it. You could spend 2,000 gold, you could spend 4,000 gold, or you can spend 6,000 gold. Kiran.
I have 2 questions because I thought a lot about this. Was
Okay.
Scarlet making 1 or 2 daggers?
I've 2, but they originally started as just standard daggers. When did you come over? Was it like later in the day, or was it
After 2 sendings in a legend lore, and probably a little rest because Kieran was like, "Ooh, that was some heavy shit."
all right?
You
so
probably
then
would
I
have only
would've
completed
made-
one of the daggers at this
I was
point.
gonna say I've already made one. So this is my second one.
And then, what would it cost to basically make it a +1 with, this additional magical damage? Or maybe, hear me out. It's like you throw it, right? And it's like a dagger of return, and it hits the target, explodes, and then reappears in Scarlet's hand.
I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
That would cost for the +1 and the effect. That would cost 4,000 gold pieces.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Another 4,000 into
Yep.
that.
Yep.
We'll get it another +1 to it, so +2 dagger. A deeper effect, it would be stronger,
Mhm.
and a third effect.
Okay, yeah, done. I have money to spend, so I will sink that 8,000 gold into this dagger.
Okay. It takes a while. It takes probably the rest of the day, night, for you to work together. Use this with your soul's magic and Curon's magic. You see the blade shifts as because this is you're forging this together. This is a whole new dagger from the other one. The other one is just going to be still a normal dagger.
Yeah.
You see with the money you provided, he's able to grab particular reagents he has and particular elements to add into this. It's a long and sleek dagger. The steel is rippled and made of a material you're not familiar with, so it required a lot of help just to forge it properly. It is gold colored. It's leaf-shaped blade with an ornate hilt made from this opalescent white wood that he had. And this was like a good chunk of your money went into this wood because there's no wood down here. And this is rare magically. Polished and gleaming with ancient runes. That he's not even himself sure what they translate to. They're like rune lore that he has, and he's like, these should do this.
Oh, that's Sarathil.
+2 bonus to damage and attack rolls. 2 choices on the effect. First choice is it explodes with the fires of Fierce Soul's Forge, which is the effect that Curon requested. This
Suggested.
which will deal an additional, with the amount of money you spent, it'll deal an additional 2d6 fire damage. The other effect that you get from this, which was inspired by the legends of Lan Shalas. You can choose this over, it's one or the other, it doesn't do both. And you choose before you throw the dagger.
Oh, but it still has the capability to do both.
Yeah, it's not a charge thing. You just have to decide which one you're going to do before you attack.
Got it.
The other one is a. It will deal 1d6 radiant damage in a bubble around. Same thing. It's a bursting bubble. It's basically to anything within 5 feet of the target you attack. This bubble deals 1d6 radiant damage and will heal any ally within 5 feet of the target for 2d6 health.
Cool.
Fiends and aberrations take an additional 1d6 radiant damage from the bubble.
Get those aberrations out of here.
And just for kicks,
1d6.
we'll consider it a moonblade, so you can light it up.
Light it up, up, up.
Awesome.
I mean, it was made with the light of the moon, so.
And now I don't even have to touch my corrupted one. Is it a return too?
It is a direct return. And you can, out of game, you can tell Brian you have a dagger inspired by his characters.
Yay.
Was that his conservator? Was that him?
Yeah, Vostrun.
Yeah,
Oh,
Vostrun
I
is
Vostrun
Brian's
is.
character.
I was wondering, it's like, where does that name come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has Lan Shalas, the Blade of the Dawn, and he has Lan Skithgela, Blade of the Eclipsed Moon. Or his artifact type. Cool.
Very cool.
At the end of it all, kind of, you see Capricious works with you on how to use the dagger, essentially. And you see he
Practice.
blesses it in the Fire Elemental Forge. Kind of one last kind of tempering to the actual sacred forge, not the workshops outside. And it back to you. Say, a weapon befit to a true daughter of the elements.
It's beautiful.
Your father was a man who understood the sacredness of the fortunes. Whoever he is, I'm sure he's proud of you.
Thank you.
May his soul rest with the great host. You'll see him again in those halls.
Hope so.
And may Fearsol watch your back, Lycian.
Yes, well, she's usually watching it, so. I think I'm all set.
A fine blade to have at your back, wherever you
One
go.
befit a champion of Ilyuvania.
All right. Thank you.
You're both always welcome in the forges here.
I appreciate the space. I needed it today.
And, if you're ever around Vermelsia, it's one of the cities in Duras, if you're familiar, a little south of here. We have our own manor.
Me too.
The Wayward Manor, if you're ever in town, we'd be happy to host you. That's a thing we can do, I think.
Of course it is.
If
Thing
I ever
to
find myself that far south, and within those quite ruthless kingdoms the humans have, I suppose I will I'll look you up.
Fantastic.
I always remember the faces of those who grace the forge and show kindness. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to you.
But I have more work to do. I had a lot of orders to fulfill during these last 7 hours that we've been working on this, so I'm a bit behind, if you don't mind.
Of course. Crescent Heart, watch you, friend, and Kieran will give him a little guidance for the next minute.
That first
doesn't
hammer
hit his
strike
thumb.
into the.
He's like, "Oh, that's pretty good." And then
That's good.
How late is it right now? Like, could I offer to help catch him up a little, or is it like bedtime?
Yeah, I mean, you could spend a couple hours here. I'd say it's pretty late. It's like 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening at this point.
Great. Well, Kieran, I want to help him catch up a little bit. I'll meet you back.
of course, you kids have fun now. It's time for Grandpa's rest.
Thank you.
As he hobbles back.
Yeah, you get back to the room or the Menders Guild, and I imagine you'd see Sarathil, Talray, and Timber there with the goodies they purchased.
Hello.
Hey, Kieran, I stole a
Show and
candle.
What? What have I said time and again about stealing? Oh, these people trust and respect us.
It wasn't intentional. He wanted 15,000 gold for a candle. I said, okay, and I handed him 1,500. But he didn't check the money.
Are you sure about that?
That or they're after us.
We have to stay until the morning.
Did you check to see if the candle was the candle he was advertising?
It might not be. But
He did reach into a general drawer of candles. Okay. So as you all kind of come to finish out the evening and rest, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few moments to finish out the session. Woo! So stick around, folks. We'll see you in 5 minutes.
1, let's go.
Welcome back, everybody, to Advantage in Paradise. The party is settling their business in Kolpolt Rodstva before, in the morning, beginning the journey north to Smoothold, home of Wizwick, to lay his body to rest, continue their journey. So the evening has come. There is another healthy serving of rock slug in the medical ward. But I imagine you've got plenty of good berries to keep you sustained. Although I'm sure Timber would like to eat some of that buttered rock slug with a shit ton of garlic in there.
Cool.
And Underdark garlic is more pungent than surface garlic.
Ooh,
I'd
like that.
Garlic times 10 per
Perfect.
clove.
Making it sound like that's a bad thing.
I would love it. And Timber's breath smells horrible for
Yeah.
at least 4 hours after eating it.
I wouldn't
That's
have
the
it any
real
other
reason I
way.
don't come back till later.
Yeah, I imagine whoever's in the cot next to Timber when he's sleeping and like snoring, it's just sort of like
Like
this
with mouth
gust
open.
of garlic wind into your face. Mingled with general dog breath.
Hey, I mean, I don't lick my butt, so.
Mm.
Well, sorry. Maybe I do.
When you've spent too long in the wolf form, you might
I
succumb
have
to
some
of those.
urges. Yeah.
Yeah. When you and Scarlet were traveling alone together, she caught you many a time when you were in dog form.
I had to play the part. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're a person.
Sick.
But evening comes, and with that, you can rest for the evening. To awake the next morning to meet up with Strani and do any last-minute things here in Kolpolt Rodstva, and then head northward. So you rest. The morning comes. Kiran, you wake earlier than everyone, as per usual. So do you, Sarathil. And if you want to do anything before everyone else wakes up, you can, but everyone would come awake around the similar time to meet Strani in the morning. Are there any last-minute things you want to do in the city?
No, thank you, Sean.
Thought you were about to
Okay.
sneeze.
Actually, yeah, could we fight... sorry. Forbiddance. And then fight the Elder Brain.
I will drag you out by the ear.
No, I just wanted one good strike.
No.
Fifth,
no.
a seventh
Nope.
level moonbeam.
Nope. Let's go. Save it.
Absolutely. I imagine the Gloam Lord guards are there to send you off. And you're in the northern ward of the city, the residential district where the exit would be to lead to the northern passes, which is the Hollow March district. You send out the energies of the Forbiddens, and it radiates across the entire city and through down deep below where the Elder Brain is currently trapped by the Forbidden spell, giving these heroes one more day to attack, 24 more hours to attack. The Gloom Lord gives you his well wishes as he sends you off with Strani in your journey north. Now, this journey is going to take you a little while. So during the legs of this journey, if there's anything you wanted to do, like obviously it's not the same as downtime in a city where you have access to shops and forges and crafting stations, but it is going to be a rather long, quiet journey through the dark. Strani is taking you carefully through to avoid the most dangerous parts. There may be times when you need to hide, when there's larger creatures or other wildlife around, but for the most part, you're going to be fairly safe.
I'd imagine that I spend most of my primeval awareness castings, like
Mhm.
maybe like 3 times a day, just to
Sure.
make sure we don't run into anything like unexpected.
Yeah, absolutely. With Talray's help and Strani's, you're gonna be pretty secure on this path. But is there anything anyone would like to do during this sort of pseudo downtime?
I'd like to work with Timber and like make a really conscious effort to get this meditation stuff. Like we have like 2 weeks, I think, 2.5 weeks to really, so every day, maybe twice a day if we need to. I want to make this work.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
10 days. The journey is
Right.
10 days.
Perfect.
Every day.
Well, once in the morning and once in the evening.
Perfect. Yeah, when you get up and before you go to bed, that's perfect.
Yeah. Most of the time, Timber falls asleep during the second meditation of the day.
Yeah, I'm not far behind. I like to imagine that like we're both so friggin' tired, and so we like get halfway through it, and then I wake up the next morning and I'm like, my head is where my feet should be. I'm like totally not. And then you're all just splayed out too, and like, well, fuck. Let's try this again.
I would imagine that Talray is being noticeably separated or isolated from the group. Like, he still has food with them, and somebody comes up to them, he's friendly and everything. But when it comes to just traveling or any downtime, you often find him like further ahead, scouting ahead, just like, keeping his distance, kind of just like isolated. He's always riding Mundy though.
I want to do daggers again with Strani if we have time.
And I'm
Oh,
definitely
there's plenty of time.
gonna practice the harmonica at some point.
I would also
Oh, yeah.
like, at some point, I would like to copy my spells to my spell book.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have plenty of time to do that. You'd be able to copy all of them as long as you've got the gold value for the paper and ink.
Maybe. What's the value again?
It's under
Let's
your
see,
wizard
first.
spell book. It has. I don't remember the exact cost.
Yeah,
It's a
I'll
certain
look it
amount
up.
per level.
Yeah.
It's like the, but yeah. I don't remember if it might be 50 gold per spell level.
Oh, yeah, that should be fun.
But double check that. But you definitely have plenty. Over the 10 days. There's enough time to do that.
Sarathil, I would be pretty like good about going and asking for a re-up on Mind Blank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine there's almost a ritual every morning where you wake up all discombobulated with Timber. Everyone starts to, make their breakfast and Mind Blank every morning.
Yes.
But passing through these parts of the Underdark, there's a lot of like abandoned settlements here. You would find the mostly like mining work. This area of the Underdark is like, particularly when you get maybe like halfway into the journey, you can start to feel like you're actually entering what is likely Svirfneblin territories, because pretty frequently, Strani and Talray have to dismantle traps that have just been left behind, and keep an eye out for these things. Strani's pretty knowledgeable about where the abandoned traps are and how to avoid them because she's made this journey before, to guide traders up to an outer ditch town, Smoothold. She's never been to Smoothold itself because it's very secretive, but she's been to the outer ditch town of Smoothold that they most of the time is where outsiders eat with Svirfneblin, unless they were very trusted and allowed into the actual halls. Very infrequent. There are points when she would point down tunnels and just like say information about it. No intention of going there, obviously, but just for your knowledge of what, as the players, you could explore in this place, but your characters would not want to explore.
Let's be very real. One character wants to explore every inch, but understands the need to continue moving forward.
She would point about 2 days into the journey. She would point towards a path that leads probably southwest, and she would say, "Oh, that way is very dangerous. Leads towards Drow-held territories. I believe it's a," and she kind of looks to Sarathil, "a vast library. I think it's called the Grand Ublor Library. We don't have a lot of interactions with the Drow there, of course, but it is a very dangerous part of the Underdark. They guard it quite ferociously, primarily held by the priestess class. So, it's all spiky and dangerous and filled with spiders."
Gross.
You go a couple other days in, and she points down another path that seems to descend downward and seems to be somewhat flooded. She says, "Oh, that path there, I went down it once with a few gloomstalkers, had to flee for our lives. A bunch of snake people chased us."
Snake people?
Snake people?
Now, were they humanoids that had like serpentine heads, or were they snakes with arms and legs?
To be honest, it was a bit of both.
Like a centaur snake. Like the
Mm.
bottom half and the top
What's a
half.
centaur?
It's a. There's centaurs in your world. Yes? No?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a horse humanoid kind of hybrid. It's four-legged with the upper torso of,
What's a horse?
It's a beast of burden. Four-legged mammal with a mane. Actually, and Kieran's gonna minor illusion, Roko.
Oh, they're quite beautiful.
Indeed they are. They make fantastic friends and companions on the road.
Wobbly legs. I think that thing would break itself in the Underdark.
Oh, most certainly.
Kieran, you did it wrong, because Roko is 6 feet wide, and you can only do a 5 foot. I'll just do the other foot of Roko's head.
You've
Minor
got to get your
illusion.
friend to draw the butt.
He's very good at drawing the butts.
Smelling them too.
I've looked at many.
We're getting a bit closer now. There are 2 more things to point out to you. Down this path
That one.
is, this one over here. Much deeper.
Okay.
It's a very tight path too. I've only explored it once. I wasn't supposed to. Got a bit of a earful from my captain at the time. Is before I was a captain, so I didn't
cool.
have all the authorities I have now. But right now, I would not go down.
You're smarter now for it. You've
Mhm.
learned.
No. But there's a bunch of strange machinery down there. Ancient and rusted, some of it golden plated. There's rumors of some kind of artifact down there. Folks be calling it the vessel. But no one really, it's a little too dangerous for even the most curious of minded folk. Though those who go down, they definitely don't come back typically.
I bet if
Maybe
we
it's-
went down there, we'd come back. Kieran says, looking to everyone like, no.
Kieran, we all have a dash with initially going to you. This is just another layer of hell.
I'm just saying, we're chosen champions of Illyvania. We can.
It only goes so far, Kieran.
Confidence goes a long way sometimes.
You sure like the darkness for someone who's
I mean,
That's
I
fine.
don't know. you know, like we've got other priorities, but if everybody's scared of going someplace, that usually means that that place has the best stuff. You know,
I'm
they.
sure it would make a great gift to Gloman.
I mean, as long as I got first dibs on whatever I wanted.
Let's keep moving forward.
I was only contracted to bring you to Smoothold. I'm just pointing these out as a good tour guide of the Underdark.
I'm sure Wizwick would be able to corroborate your story as well. Kieran says, looking to their companion.
Now, we've got a few paths to go now. There's a lot of underground lakes in this area.
Ooh.
We're going to be passing one. There's another one. It's called the Syrinscape Lochland. It was recently discovered only a couple of years ago. Really only 2 years ago. Cave dragons, though.
Ah.
Very dangerous. But they're blind. So you can get away pretty easily. But they've got pretty wide attacks, so we need to be very quiet in this area. Probably the most dangerous part of our journey.
What was that? Kieran says, stumbling over himself.
So Strawny at this point, and this is about this is like a good 7 or 8 days into the journey. Like you're getting close to Smoothold, where Strawny starts to lead you down a path that is going to cross a vast lake. Timber?
7 or 8 days. Which one?
7.5 days.
It's important. It's important.
I should actually write down the calendar date for my own reference.
Yeah, sometimes you just lose track of time, whether you're in a port city or out in the Underdark, you know.
You gotta track that multi-lunar cycle.
Yep. Okay. So, you start to pass through this particularly dark area as well. And you enter into a wider expanse, similar to when you passed over that lake where you met Greg the Grung. And there's, a little bit here and there of bioluminescent fungi and growths. You can see swimming in the water are bioluminescent fish here and there, where you just see kind of these strings of lantern lights that move like an eel, or you see like a completely opaque and porcelain white octopus with more than 2 eyes all over its body. Moving about. So there's just sort of this general dim light in the lower portion of this cavern. You can see the outline of the water and generally where the stone path is. There's a waterfall that rushes, so it is pretty loud in this chamber. That kind of fills this lake with a small stream that leads into it that you need to cross over. Deep out into the lake, probably about 60 feet in or 70 feet in, you do see that there are strange petrified trees growing on small islands. They look like they may have been from like fossilized trees that have been uprooted or something has petrified them. But you see one large stump in the middle of the lake. It's very vast. It's about the size of like a California redwood, like that big, that massive. And it's just the hollowed out stump, literally like what you'd see when a tree rots and falls down and a stump is there hollowed out and filled with fungus or whatever. There is a faint orange light glowing from inside of it. But that's all you see here. She did say this is cave dragon territory. You will want to be stealthing through. What would you like to do? Interested in
So
that stump?
I am, honestly.
I
But
wonder what's
I also wanted to mention, Sean, that I am. I mean, dragons are one of my favorite enemies as well. So if I know, can I roll like an intelligence check to see what I know about dragons, like cave dragons, like survival check or something?
Yeah, you could do a nature check or survival, your choice.
Your advantage on survival checks to track your favorite enemies, as well as int checks to recall information about them.
So
So
that would
like,
include nature as one of the int checks.
right?
So you could do either though.
Okay, I'll take the survival.
Okay, go for
Well, I got a 19. I did not roll very well.
it. It's pretty good though.
Yep.
So you don't know as much about cave dragons as other surface dwelling dragons that you know more about, or mountain dwelling dragons, but you know a little bit because they have been very rare, but they have like surfaced before, and usually they just kind of thrash about and cause mayhem until they can literally blindly find the opening to the Underdark again to crawl back down because they don't like the light. Even though they don't have eyes, and you know they don't have eyes, they have a sensitivity to sunlight. They typically have degenerated wings, so they can't really fly, but they can climb very well. And particularly anything that is of stone nature, they can move across quite easily. But they can't actually use their wings to fly. You also know that they tend to
I'm looking
have
for two things.
sure.
One is do they have hordes?
Mm. They don't typically have like hordes in the sense of like Glowman collecting treasure. They usually find a place of treasure. Like they find a place that has treasure already or magical affinities already and create their dwelling around that, and then anything that falls into it that's an adventurer that might have magical items, they essentially kind of use that as a trap. Like they know creatures in the Underdark seek out, explore for these types of places, so they set up their nests in them to trap those individuals and ambush them.
Cool. And the second question was I know that they're blind, but
Mhm.
do I know what type of sense allows them to like notice things? Like, is it like a tremor sense, or is it like
It's
uh
more like a blind sight
okay,
radar like sonar kind of like bat like um, ability to see.
understood?
Not tremor sense though. You know it's not tremor sense. It's more of a blind sight.
Right, makes more sense. Okay, I'm going to, look at everyone and say, uh, I think that you know, these creatures are very dangerous, but they're usually wherever there's a dragon, there's also usually a big reward, you know. And the dragons are specifically planned to make their hordes somewhere that is more magical in nature, that has something that people want, so that they don't have to go looking for things. So I mean, that might make it more dangerous because it's less likely to not be here, but it means that the reward is guaranteed if we're able to slay or subdue the creature.
Didn't we just spend a whole bunch of gold on new items? And I believe we're on a tight schedule.
Just saying, if you want these people to, treat you kindly, one thing that you can do is, help them out, kind of like how we did with the dwarves. This might not be too different.
Strani, is this too different from how we helped you all back at Kolpolt?
Rodstva.
Well, cave dragons are a bit of a menace in the north. And if it's guarding something shiny, the Zvirfneblin have great love for beautiful artifacts. It could be a useful way to gain their interest, to allow us in.
Don't we have and Curon motions to Noldo with Wizwick? Kind of lets that sit there for a moment.
It is something that you would think would be a rightful passage in, but you do not understand the degree to which the Zvirfneblin protect the secrecy of their home. Not saying that we need to kill a dragon and take its hoard to them. You may be able to convince them otherwise. But sneaking past here, you may not have to deal with the dragon if it is quiet.
That gets
Get
my
there in
vote.
a few days. If there's a dragon here, it's probably guarding whatever's in that stump.
Let's take the safer route. Come on.
Huron, remember what I taught you about stealthing? Don't stomp your feet.
Yeah, it's less to do with that. As Curon shifts the glass table. And more to do with managing that.
Did I give you my cloak of elvenkind? If I didn't, I'm giving it to you now.
Well, you
Does that
got-
require attunement?
It does require
does.
attunement.
Well, you know what? I can unattune to. We're not going to sit here for an hour and wait.
All right. So, what would you all? I mean, are you just gonna sneak by?
I think that's the best course of action.
Yeah, pass without a trace.
Woo!
All right, everybody, roll those stealth checks.
With advantage, or with plus
No,
Oh,
some.
plus 10.
10.
I get advantage.
Good God.
Oh, Papa got a new pair of shoes.
Bang.
I'm sorry for calling myself Papa. That was uncalled.
No. Call yourself Daddy, please. Please.
That's really the big thing here is to hope that D&D Beyond is kind to Sarathil. All right.
Yeah, it actually was okay. The plus
Yeah,
10,
that's
I'm happy
bad.
with it.
All right, Sarathil, what'd you get?
11.
Oh. Is
Really?
that plus 10?
Oh, I'm sorry. 21. I rolled an 11, 21.
Okay. It's like, fuck. All right. Scarlet,
33.
Timber,
30.
Kieran.
I got a natural 20, so that's gonna be a 31 for me.
Woo! I'm so proud.
Nice.
Except for that
Legit.
initial jiggle alerted them all. So.
Yeah.
All right. Strani got a 28.
Woo!
Talray, what'd you get?
I got a 27, but I also realized that I have the vanish ability now, which says I can't be tracked by non-magical means. Does that mean I just have passed without a trace? Just
No,
technically?
because that just means you can't be tracked. You can still be seen.
Yeah. You just can't be traced down and tracked
Right,
and
but no
followed. But if
following
someone
you.
just sees you, then that will
It's
happen.
very different.
All
Verbiage.
right, but Noldo got a natural 18, so that's definitely super high with that pass without a trace. Hell yeah, you all sneak by completely unnoticed by anything, as far as you can tell. I will say, for those of you with a passive perception of 18 or higher.
Right here.
17.
Okay, so that's Timber, Talray, and Huron.
Yeah.
Not Kieran.
You-
Kieran's low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got a 10 or something.
Yeah.
Negative
Uh,
30. actually.
You could definitely, when you're sneaking by to get to the other side, to pass over. And I'd say particularly when you guys are moving through the water to get to the other side, the slight splashing of the water is mostly covered by the waterfall, but you do kind of like see the movement of the cave dragon on the ceiling. You can see its figure as you're moving through. Yeah, Kieran.
Do we pass close to the orange glow tree?
I'd say the closest you could get to it is about 40 feet, roughly. Because it's out in the water.
Can I get a good look at what it is?
You can give me a perception check to try.
Yeah, I can. 30.
Okay. You can. There's the strange orange glow. You can kind of see just the top of whatever is giving it off, and from what you can see, it looks like it's kind of like possibly shaped like a seed, but it has this sort of mercurial moving surface light that glows, this orange amber color, but it's definitely some kind of oval like shaped item in there.
Kieran kind of nudges Talray and goes, "It's some kind of seed in there. I'm not quite sure."
Ring any bells, Sean?
Give me an Arcana check. Give me an Arcana check. Talray, with advantage.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
This is our dragon boy. He got to know about the dragon.
But I had a
alright.
-1, so that's an 11.
Yeah, not too sure.
Looks expensive.
We walk past.
Okay. You can see the dragon above, though. You can kind of see the wings come out a little bit, and they're just these like shriveled wings that are very small for the body. You can see the body is long and has these kind of carapace like shell on it. And then it has this vast head that has this like plates over where the eyes would be, and this huge maw. It basically looks like a dragon centipede, but with these shriveled wings on its back, and it's clinging to the ceiling with like it has 100 legs.
Oh, I'm imagining Diabolos from Monster Hunt.
I can see it.
But you are able to pass by without alerting it. You're perfectly safe, which is a good job because it had a pretty high passive perception.
Oh no!
Higher than me.
Not higher than you, but pretty high. But you all got pretty high with your rolls.
Relatively.
Yeah, you were close, Sarathil, to being caught. But you pass through. And when you get a distance from that passage, Strani just kind of looks to everyone and kind of gives a big sigh and just looks at you all and says, "We should be pretty safe from here. A stray trap here and there from the deep gnomes, but we should be close to the ditch town. Is there anything you'd like to prepare? When we get there, it's not going to be Smoothold itself. We're going to be bartering for entrance into Smoothold."
Well, I mean, we have knowledge of the long-lost god Noldagra, as well as Noldo himself, construct from Wizwick's arcane core, not to mention one of their own, deceased, but being returned. And I'm sure, and Kieran roots around in his bag of holding gold pouch, takes out some gems and goes, "If need be, I have plenty of gems to convince them. Though it would be nice if Fizri returned and helped I hope she's okay.
Yeah. Last you knew about Fizri, you all told her to go to Caerdolan to meet with
Alright.
what's her name?
Alra.
Calra.
You were gonna say Carla.
That's what Wizwick always called her. So Fizri's probably a little too far away to get back here.
Okay.
But anyway, you start to pass through. Strani starts to walk at a more casual pace. It's going to take a day and a half or 2.5 days to get there. Yes, Timber.
No,
Sorry,
it's 2.5 days. That's all I needed to know.
I just have
Kieran?
a note that I had told Fizri. No, I had told Elspeth that
Oh, that's right.
that Wizwick's sister was going there because we were going to be.
Yes, I forgot about that. You're correct. You are correct. Absolutely. Told her to head to meet with Elspeth in Taramron, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because she wasn't she in Oranshire or like right outside of it?
She was, yes.
Yeah.
So
We
she would
said
be.
no.
So I was like, head north. By the way, Elspeth, you got a friend coming.
Okay. And you had sent that message a while ago, right? You sent it.
I sent
Do you
it.
remember when you sent it?
We were still in what's it called?
The Fields of Glass?
Vermelsia. We were in Vermelsia.
Oh.
We had just met with Duke Lithonius.
Oh, okay.
They were fortifying. Yeah, and we had just found out that Robert was, or Oriel was Robert.
Oh, okay.
And I sent that message.
So
as
that
well
was a
as
solid. That was a solid.
Session
Nearly
101.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, session 101.
Yeah. So that makes things much different, actually.
Right.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
So then, over the last 12 days or 10 days that you've been traveling, Isri would have definitely been able to get to meet with Elspeth before that. Actually,
It's been
now
more
that
than
you say
10
that,
days, by the way.
Isri.
Sorry.
No, yeah, I know that. It's
Okay,
been 10 days since Curon told her to go to meet you in the Underdark. That's actually plenty of time for her to actually find you guys through the ditch towns in the mountains. So with that in mind, then, with these 2.5 days, would you like to reach out to her?
Yeah, I guess as we're closing in, Kieran would send another sending, just kind of being like, hey, Fizri, just checking in. I didn't want to push too much. I know that my last message may have caused much distress. But I'm sure, should we meet soon, hopefully you've made your way back to Smoothold. We shall be arriving within a day or two. And I can explain more about what's happened to your brother.
Thank you for taking care of Farlight while you were with him. I am just got to Smoothold. We can meet you at the outer ditch town trading post. See if I can get you all inside. You said you'll be here in a few days?
Yeah, takes off the phone.
Stronny, how much longer until we're to the ditch town?
2.5 days.
2.5 days. We'll be there.
Okay, that might be enough time for me to get you inside. Okay. I'll at least meet you there. Figure out what we can do.
Fantastic. Thank you. Be safe. Twilight bless and all that jazz.
Okay. All right. So is there anything you'd like to do over these next 2 days as you approach? So basically there'll be a point where it's a much more it's not refined, it's not like a cleared perfect tunnel. The rock faces are very natural and definitely dug through create this warren that you're entering, but there's certain etchings here and there, certain carvings, certain smoother structures with severe benevolent runes on it to know that you're entering this space. You can see some abandoned lanterns and carts and different things before you would see one of these underdark ditch towns. Curon, you've seen ditch towns on the surface before. These are, this one they're much more at home in the Underdark than the strange kind of pits that they build at the base of the mountain. This one you can see it's built into the only place where you find Zvirfneblin building structures that aren't just like crafted into the stonework themselves is in surface ditch towns where they have to learn how to build things that are not stone. Here it's much more natural, much more built into the rock surroundings, with some stone masonry to create external buildings. But it's a general. It's very quiet. You can see you can't really see any Zvirfneblin there. If you didn't know that this was probably an active ditch town, you'd suspect that it was entirely abandoned. Even this tunnel you would suspect is entirely abandoned as you're moving through it. You approach the ditch town and you see no one. You just see empty windows of these stone hollows, and nothing, no sign of anyone there.
Now, when you say no sign of anyone there, how does a perception check sound to you?
Go ahead and give me one.
Well, looks like they're up and left. Let's go up to the surface, everybody. It looks like we're gonna have to go someplace else. We tried. It was a good effort.
31.
31. It's an empty town. Talray, when you say that, do you just start to walk away haphazardly, or walk through the town haphazardly?
The way you say it, I don't want to.
Without my forewarnings there, what would Talray do?
He would be in front of the group anyway, so he wouldn't really like keep walking backwards, but he would be like addressing the group and like making himself, more open, like he would see no threats, so he would probably just stand there and just be like, well, time to go.
Okay.
I mean, Kieran will probably, look around, and when he sees nothing, he'll be a little more concerned now. He just assumed they were all hiding at first. He'll go, hello, is anyone... Strani, are you sure this is the ditch town? Is there a... Hello, we're looking for some deep gnomes around here. we have some information for you. Is there Fizri? Fizri.
Sorry, can I do something before you?
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
I'd imagine that I would have put primeval awareness up.
Mm-hmm.
Check for baddies. Are there any?
Nope.
Then I would use my spell Thaumaturgy cantrip to make my voice real loud. And just say, is anybody home? Home? Home?
Everyone give me dexterity saving throws.
Oh no!
Ooh, not too shabby, not too shabby.
If it has to do with the mountain, I get
Hell
advantage.
yeah.
It does not.
Okay, no problem then.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Sarathil, what'd you get?
7.
Timber, what'd you get?
18.
Scarlet, what'd you get?
22.
You're
I
on.
also got a 22.
19.
Okay.
Berthel's knees blow off.
Strawny seeds. Okay. So, as if out of nowhere, through an invisible wall, a barrage of needles flies out of nowhere towards you. Darts, really. And they just like dozens of them just fire off at you all. Anyone who got less than an 18 fails.
So Sarathil.
Wasn't even
no.
close, baby.
Everyone else takes half damage.
What if you have an evasion?
Yeah,
You take
evasion.
none.
Woo!
Woo!
But if you don't-
High five and monk robe. Can I go help Sarathil though when I see him?
Yeah, take the needles
going
out of his
down?
legs.
Yeah.
Sarathil, you take 10 points of piercing damage. As I imagine, just like 10 needles in you. And I need you to give me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh no.
Say, wait, 10 piercing?
10 piercing damage and a con saving throw.
And hell yeah.
If you don't have evasion, then you take 5 points of piercing damage. And
Just kill
for
me.
for
Oh my
you,
God.
Kieran, that's 3 points of piercing damage. Yeah.
They hate you.
Just kill me.
What'd you get?
Just kill my character.
What'd you get?
A 5.
Okay. Sarathil, you are paralyzed.
No. I go help. I go and just stand in front of him.
For the next 8 hours.
Jesus Christ.
As the Zvirfneblin paralysis toxin enters your bloodstream. You would hear a muffled sound from behind that invisible wall that these fired out of. They're friends. They're friends. As you would see, Fizri comes barreling through it just sort of zoop, as this wall behind her is there. And she rushes. Yeah.
Kieran, I was gonna say, is like hiding behind his shield, and he's like, "No, wait, we're friends of Wizwick, Belgru, Farlight, Yellen, Jedri, Pedri, Netherrock."
And as you say this, and as Fizri rushes through, suddenly you just see this illusion dissipate away from around you, and all the way around, back behind you, illusions dissipate. Those abandoned lanterns are all lit and providing a beautiful, warm amber light through these tunnels. The tunnels themselves, the rocks are all natural, but there's decorations all about them, different tapestries and different collections of gems in these presenting ways. The whole space in an instant becomes significantly warmer. As Fisher comes rushing out, and you can see these giant, like, false floors had been launched upward that essentially shot out the dozens and dozens of needles. Ingenuity of the Zvirfneblin horde. As you can see, several Zvirfneblin now are kind of looking on in uncertainty as Fizri comes rushing up to greet you, to see you. She's never seen you before, only heard your voice in her head. So she's assuming you're the right people. She looks up at you, Kieran, having heard you say Wizwick's name, and she just says, "Are you the voice?"
Yes, I'm Kieran Listane, friend to Wizwick. Kind of like a mentor-ish relationship, but yes. Gestures back.
Sorry. I think some dust got in my mouth.
Oh shit. Let me help your friend here. And she rushes over to Sarathil's side. And you see she starts searching through her packet and takes out a little.
He'll be fine. He's kind of like undead, so.
Wow.
He's used to that position.
For
1,000 years.
She sees the eyes moving around. She's like, hold up. And she kind of gently takes Sarathil's head into her hands and pours this little tiny vial into his mouth. It tastes like absolute butthole. It's absolutely terrible tasting. Like it's just like as bitter as possible, but with this strange like aftertaste of just bile. But slowly you feel your joints soften and you can move again.
Oh, that's vile.
No, it was from a vial.
It tastes like bile.
But for the lot of you, it's suddenly very warm now in this space. And you can see the Zvirfneblin are like their faces soften. They were all kind of staring at you aggressively, but seeing that Fizri knows you, they've softened a little bit. And you can see there's all sorts of trade goods there. This ditch town is quite marvelous, really. But as Fizri helps Sarathil to his feet, or at least gives him this potion and kind of gives him a scoot up because she's too short to lift him up. She looks. Go ahead.
Well, maybe I'm a little bit slow on the uptake. Who's this?
This is Fizri Netherrock, our old companion's sister.
Fizri, Anbi, Arwin, Yelk, Clopperus, Darius, Netherrock. And you are?
Well, my name's Talray Glomaruin, but my friends in the up on the surface call me, and then I say something in Gnomish, something like Dragonborn.
And she kind of gives you like a reassuring nod as she holds a hand out to shake your hand.
I shake her hand.
As she's shaking your hand, you see her face fall as she kind of looks past you and drops your hand and sees Noldo, the body of Wizwick. And you can see as her face starts to contort in grief. All the gnomes, the Zvirfneblin behind her, their faces start to contort in the same way, feeling her despair. Kieran, having that momentary psychic connection to her, you feel the remnants of this magical empathy as well. She slowly takes a few steps towards Wizwick's body. And you see Noldo steps forward and kneels down, cradling Wizwick's body out of the harness. Perfectly preserved due to Sarathil's magic, but still unmoving. She whispers under her breath, Bill Crew. Bill Crew. A little hand going out to touch his brow and hesitating and pulling back, or brushing the hair out of his face and adjusting the hat back on that had fallen in the harness before tears well up in her eyes. And that's where we'll end the session tonight. Good job, everyone. Getting through some downtime exercises.
Getting through downtime. You made it, guys. You made it.
Having reached Smoothold through terror and other obstacles.
Really? Good thing that none of those rolls are on that dragon or something. I don't know.
But you've arrived in Smoothold one step closer to laying your friend to rest and seeing the Twilight Veil above. Folks, thank you for joining us tonight. Please join us for other programming throughout the week. We have another play in Paradise tomorrow night with Alex and Mike. We have more Gloomhaven. We have Relaxing in Paradise on Thursday night at 8:30, where we'll be doing some cartography work and some gaming. And then the most powerful hour on the internet, the Sean Enchanted Power Hour on Sunday, where we'll recap tonight's lovely session. And then, of course, once again on Monday, Advantage in Paradise again, to see the halls of Smoothold and meet the rest of Wizwick's family.
Go. Luck with that. I believe in you, Sean.
I know.
I'm sure you won't mess anything up.
So many names. And I made it worse for myself by making more NPC names.
Yeah.
You reap what you sow.
But thank you, folks, for joining us tonight in Paradise. We are going to raid someone right now. Shannon.
I'll raid Josh.
Okay, we're going to raid our good friend Joshua Simons. We haven't raided him in a while. So give him our love from Paradise. And please join us next week for more sadness from the people all sad about Wizwick. And well, hopefully some light in that sorrow. Good job, everyone, tonight. Say good night.
Good night.
Good night. Don't die.
Bye.